and we know it's being recorded. Okay, so let's go back to our shared screen in which we were discussing noun phrases, okay? So noun phrases, okay, so what is a noun phrase? Well, you have to first think about what is a compound noun, right? So it's two nouns, two words, specifically nouns, that form a separate meaning together, conceptually, or like an idea of something. Like if you say playground, right? The word play and the word ground are separate nouns, but when you put them together, they create an idea in your head of a certain place, a playground. So we know compound nouns, but the idea is how do you use the language to expand it, to give more information, and not only add to the language itself, well, not only add to the business terminology that we're using, right? Because this is all about business English, and that the way that we expand the terminology and the jargon. Remember the jargon that we've talked about? So jargon is basically every career, every field, every job that you study has a certain vocabulary, a vernacular, a jargon, a language within itself. Think of the way that lawyers talk to each other, right? When lawyers talk to each other, you never really understand what they're saying, right? They start talking legal terms and you're like, oof, I'm lost. Right? Same thing like doctors. Doctors, when they are talking to each other, it's like they're talking Martian. If there is such a thing as a Martian language, right? You don't understand what they're saying. They're talking in medical terms. So that's what we call jargon. So in business, it's the same way. When business people talk to each other, they have a certain way that they use the language that they know what it means, right? So they use certain nouns and adjectives and adverbs to convey an idea, a concept or something, of whatever it is that they might be talking about within a business environment. So business people talk this way all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't matter if you're in New York or if you're in China or in Tokyo, there's a certain terminology that's understood between business people. So the idea is that this terminology, you can create not only compound nouns, two nouns, but you can create phrases, and we call these noun phrases, okay? Noun phrases. Noun phrases have an order. They have a pattern to them, for example. So they'll have like an adjective, an adverb, another noun, and then a head noun, right? So a head noun is think of the head noun like the main subject of the phrase. What is it that you're really talking about? A good example that I think I've talked about in the past is that, for example, let's say you go to the supermarket and you're looking for rice. Well, you look up at the aisle and you look down the aisle and it says rice, right? But let's say you're looking for brown rice. Well, rice is your head noun, okay? Like rice is your head noun, that's your main subject. But you're looking for brown rice, right? So then you go to the aisle. Now I have a phrase here, a compound of brown rice. Well, maybe I want Spanish brown rice. So now I'm adding to the phrase. You see, I'm adding more Spanish brown rice. Not only do I want Spanish brown rice, but I want yellow Spanish brown rice, or not yellow, but more like a specific Spanish brown rice. See, you're adding to it. So these are phrases. When we do this every day, it's common everyday talk. But when we're talking about it in business, it becomes more, what's the word? It becomes more specific. If you change a word around, it changes the meaning, right? So if we take a look here on page 18, right, we have what's called the language review. And it's explaining to us what are noun compounds and noun phrases. All this relating to the vocabulary in English. So I'll read the first, I'll model. It says here, bullet point number 1. A compound noun is two nouns together. We got that. Noun compounds are common in business because they are shorter and more convenient than noun phrases. For example, if I say a market survey rather than a survey into the market, right? So now I shorten the idea. Survey into the market? Well, are you saying market survey? Yes. So I shortened it by using two nouns. Another one is a product design brief rather than a brief for the design of a product. You see that? All that verbiage, all those words I have to say, I shortened them and I created an idea by using 3 words only, 3 nouns. Right? Product, design, brief. So we do this in our everyday, in business, everyday talk. The next bullet point, the next bullet point says, longer noun phrases are also common. Right? This is what I was talking. This is why I was talking about this earlier. They may consist of adverbs, right? Adjectives. Then we have a noun and a head noun. Think again of a head noun as the main subject of this phrase. Like rice, brown rice, Spanish brown rice, right? But rice is our head noun in that case. So for example, when you use all these types of parts of speech, this pattern, this order cannot be changed. You can change the adjective, but you cannot change the order. Right? So the order that we have as an example here is a very specific order that cannot be changed. So number 1, the first word in that noun phrase should always be an adverb. Right? The second word in that noun phrase should be an adjective. And then after that, number 3 in that noun phrase is a noun. And then finally, the head noun. So what do we have here as an example? If we look here on page 18, let me make sure you can all see it here. I will enlarge so we can see this much better. So, number 1, adverb. What they have there is the word highly, right? Highly is a measurement of low or high, right? Tall, small, or little, right? So it's giving us a measurement of how something is important. How important is it? It's highly important. It's very important. Even the word very is another adverb. So when you say highly, you're making sure that right at the beginning of this phrase, you're letting the listener know, or the reader, that this is a very important thing that I'm going to talk to you about. So highly. The next one is confidential. Highly confidential. Very private. Very secret. Right? Very discreet information. How do I know that it's an adjective? It ends in AL. Okay? Confidential. AL is a very good a common way. If a word has an AL at the end, we know that it's an adjective. So now we have highly confidential. Now we come up with our label, right? Not our main label, like the way I said Spanish rice, right? Or Spanish rice. Here is another noun, sales. What kind of sales? Report. It's a sales report. So sales report is our compound noun, and then we're adding that more information. So what does it turn into? It turns into highly confidential sales report. Every word is trying to describe the next part of speech. Right? Highly. What do you mean by highly? Confidential. Oh, highly confidential. What's highly confidential? Sales. Oh, highly confidential sales. Well, what about it? It's a report. Oh, I understand now. Highly confidential sales report. What kind of report? Sales. Is it confidential? Yes, because that's the adjective that's describing sales. How confidential? Highly confidential. So as long as you follow that order, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to be fine. You have to know your parts of speech. Right? That's all you have to know. Highly ends in ly. Big crew, key participle there, right? It ends in ly. Adjective. Right? Confidential. So let's see if we can try this as far as an example. Let me know if you have any questions. Anybody have any questions about this? And this is yes.
Bernardo, what about when you have like several different adjectives? How do I know how to like organize them?
Well, you mean what do you mean by several adjectives? Like big, small?
Like you mentioned, yeah, Spanish and brown, both are adjectives, but sometimes you have a lot of different adjectives to describe a noun. So is there like an order for them?
Well, if you follow the grammatical order of the language, right, a noun always has to go an adjective always has to go before the noun. So you could have, you could definitely have more than one adjective to describe the noun. Like, if I say, and a good way to know this also, remember that the idea is that we're shortening the phrase, that we're sticking to the grammar. and then say it's a hot and sticky day, right? Hot and sticky are nouns, meaning it's hot outside, the weather, and you feel sticky. Two nouns, but I use the conjunction according to the grammar. I'm not doing a noun phrase, I'm only creating a sentence, right? Or part of a sentence. So hot and sticky day. Outside is hot and sticky. You see what I mean? So you can add, it's like it's sort of like making a list of things. It's hot, sticky, and muggy today. Now I give you three adjectives, hot, sticky, and muggy. So hot, comma, sticky, comma, and muggy. Three adjectives. So you can have 3, 4, however, there is no really end to it. But you don't want to give too many adjectives because then it'll be confusing. As long as it describes the day, what type of day it is, then you're going to be fine. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. Okay. But the noun phrase pattern that we're talking about, this order, has to be in that adjective, adverb, adjective, noun, head noun, main noun of the phrase. Okay? So it's very specific.